So the Department of Justice decided to put together a budget request. I decided, why not dissect that thing? And just to let you know what exactly is going on, this is a PowerPoint that I created so that way I can show exactly what is going into the Department of Justice budget request. So have fun, see for yourself. So I decided to make a nice little pamphlet in regards to everything that the Department of Justice has asked for. The only thing that I've really left out is how many savings that they were doing. Every last part of it is nice and detailed, laid out for you, so you can see how much is going to financial mortgage fraud, how many positions they want to open, what's the good things and what's the bad things about it. Now personally, I'm not as much interested in financial mortgage fraud because I already know that most of the big banks lobbied for these positions and the money is basically going to be going after small fish instead of large fish such as Goldman Sachs. Oh well, not much I can do on that, but you can still look at it for yourself in regards to everything that they're going. We are going to have two new formations: the Residential Mortgage-Backed Securities Working Group to sit here and figure out everything. And I've heard pretty good things about Eric Schneiderman. It's a good thing that he's going to be part of this investigation. In regards to healthcare fraud, I understand that $71.7 million is going to be going to increase the program. It's going to expand DOJ's investigative and litigation capacity and strengthen and expand the Department of Justice and HHS Medicare fraud strike forces. But I did find a few things to corroborate this story in regards to healthcare fraud. I'll have to check back with links. But one thing that I found particularly engaging are the prisons and detention. $8.6 billion are going to federal prisons and detention. Breaking that down, $141.2 million is going into program increases. Break that down even further, $223.9 million in prison and detention adjustments. 141.2 is going to ensure prisoners are confined in secure facilities and improve prisoner re-entry. Obviously, the recidivism is pretty high, but they're already preparing for it. This $6.8 billion is going to the Bureau of Prisons. That is a 4.1% increase from $268.9 million for the budget of 2012. This is the 2013 budget. Not interested in the buildings and facilities, not interested in the prisoner detention at this current time, except for the fact that it is a 5.5% increase. Just to let everyone know, the Bureau of Prisons is going to activate two new prisons, the FCI in Aliceville, Alabama, and the FCI Berlin in New Hampshire. They're basically opening up too, but I have a bombshell about that. Just work with me. Now here, you can see that they're hiring 210 vacant correctional worker positions at $22 million. Give me just one moment. I'm going to actually calculate that. And we're back. Just to let you know how much it is per vacant correctional worker position, it's $104,761 per worker, giving them overtime, allowing them $22 an hour. It's going to be very expensive for 210 correctional worker positions. And on top of that, we're going to have increased costs because they're planning to increase the detention population. Now, if anybody's checked the failing war on drugs recently, we already have enough people put in jail than the rest of the world combined. So why do we need more? But here's another little statistic for you. The prison cost increase does continue, but they put in $55 million, where $25.8 million is going to procure 1,000 new contract beds. Doing some quick math in my head, that's $25,800 per bed. Think about that. Where are they getting the money, their money for those type of expenditures? And where is the extra money going to go? $59.9 million in program increases. So federal detention to pay for increases in the average daily detaining population, so they're looking to put in more people to jail, and inflationary increases for detention related costs. Good gracious. Now, I don't consider this merger of huge importance. Basically, it's going to cut down on paperwork, so that's $5.6 million. It doesn't seem to be that much of a big deal, especially given how much they're using to put people in prison. Just to look at some facts, the violent crime has still gone down. If you go to FBI.gov and check on the crime statistics yourself, I believe this went down at least 6.4%. Abortion cuts crime. Since the Roe versus Wade, crime has continued to go down a lot more than enforcement has gone up. Crime rate is still going down, and this is from as soon as 12/29/2011. Then Harry Larpin is a former chief of the Bureau of Prisons, and he profits from the $6.8 billion. I could go on and on about stories about how the police are bullying reporters. You can see it for yourself right here. One of the most recent stories that I found, along with looking at police brutality, just to see all the crazy things that our police law enforcement is doing. Now, one other thing that's very, very important to me personally, being as I'm called the copyright activist, is not only the COPS program that's looking to increase. I'm very, very interested in intellectual property law. The reason that I'm interested in it, and you can see some of the good things that they're doing, justice information sharing and technology, which hearing that Holder just recently put in a mandate, I'd be very, very concerned about this, especially sharing information. But I'm very interested in cybercrime and intellectual property. For those that don't know, as recently as 2010, the Department of Justice actually made it so that they could quickly and easily do domain seizures of property, and that's based on civil asset forfeiture laws, which are very, very vague and against property owners. I'll probably have to get more into that at a later time. But here you can see that $8 million is going to a $15 million project, which are providing grants which aren't competitive in the local market, training which is beyond ridiculous because they don't have any good training, and technical assistance to support efforts to combat economic, high technology, and internet crimes. Even though the main internet crimes, if you have a computer, you're probably committing a crime, even though crime is crime, but that's beside the point. But one of their main issues is intellectual property crimes, which have been proven not to hurt the economy at all, counterfeiting, and piracy. Piracy, which is a huge misnomer. Basically, this is the Department of Justice admitting to becoming the private police force of the recording industry and the Motion Picture Association of America. At this current time, the project only has $7 million going to it. Of course, I sit here and I show more in the traditional missions. IT transformation, basically consolidations, is 15 million, 0 positions, opening up. They're just putting more money into it. I guess that's a good thing, but it's absolutely ridiculous. Intellectual property, they're asking for $5 million for this next budget, 14 new positions, and 9 attorneys. 9. They already have 5 that are recording industry lobbyists. Ian Geshergorn, Neil McBride. These people are kind of dubious, very vindictive, scandalous, and they've hurt the industry, the music industry, with these bad high-ranking positions. But one thing of note, right now they've spent $4.8 million in regards to intellectual property. We don't need more. And that's basically everything in regards to the Department of Justice budget request. Of course, there was plenty more that I could sit down and look into, but unfortunately, I'm not an expert on those things. I don't understand healthcare too much, except I do know that the individual mandate is kind of up in the air right now. And I do hope that in the near future, we do have a better healthcare system than what we currently have. I don't think the individual mandate will do that. And I do think it's unconstitutional in a number of areas. In regards to prisons, I believe that's a massive, massive thing that we should be looking at a lot more closely, because just from what I'm seeing, all they're trying to do is put more people in jail, and the numbers do not add up in any way, shape, or form. In regards to copyright and patents and everything, they're just basically become the cops for the music and movie industry, and no one's saying anything about it. How in the hell are we gonna sit here and let somebody do something like this? So that's what I'm going to be looking and focusing on from now on. The reports, the research in regards to piracy being a progressive tax, which of course most people want to get rid of. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to focus on those things because those are the ones that most interest me. Of course, if you have any other questions about this, I'll be happy to sit here and answer any question that I can. Take care, and I'll see you next time.